Katie and Nat, walking the scene, reviewing old flicks from the 90s. So keen, the VHS Club, they're the talk of the town. Breaking it down, spreading nostalgia all around. Moving and grooving to the synth-pop sound. Their insight so fresh, painting pictures profound. From Pulp Fiction to Clueless, they know it all. The genuine love from movies stands tall. Unfolding memories on that VHS screen, talking about classics like you've never seen. Katie with her charm, Matt with that wit. Together they make the VHS Club legit.
Welcome back to the VHS Club and happy almost Thanksgiving to all of our American tots and
Yes.
friends.
Happy American Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy American Thanksgiving. We've now celebrated Canadian Thanksgiving. We're finally approaching
Come and
American
gone.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, it feels like it's been months of Thanksgiving, but that's okay. That's half the fun.
Just more turkey.
More turkey, all the turkey. Yeah, we're gearing up for Turkey Day. So we're on a special night, special Wednesday night, and you all forced me to watch Rudy. So welcome to the Rudy episode.
I feel like this movie was super appropriate for American
is.
Thanksgiving
It
because
is.
it's such as a non-American, as a Canadian, this movie is just so American. It's like about the American dream. It's about American
It
style
is.
football.
It
It's
is.
about heart. You know?
I want to before we dive in, I want to put out a Katie level apology because I'm still at least 25% angry that we didn't watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles instead.
Oh, yeah.
So you can, all of my response to Rudy is slanted a little bit in like you all made me watch this movie instead of the one I wanted to watch. So please forgive me, fans and friends of Rudy. I'm a little bit jaded about it going in.
I do have to confess, rewatching this, and I haven't seen it in years. Like, I don't think I've seen this since I was a kid. I much more enjoyed it when I was a kid than I did this time.
This is one. Okay, are you
Yeah.
ready? I wish I had the sound of. I need to like start adding more and more sound effects. I keep saying this, but I wish I had the sound effect that was like, there we go. I'm gonna save that one for next time. Like, sound effect will be. I did not actually originally see this. I, in my mind, thought I had seen this, and I'm pretty sure my parents own this movie on VHS. So I will need to go through.
Positive.
I
don't know how you
no
didn't see it.
recollection of this, and I have a pretty good memory, but I was like 10 minutes in, I was like, no, I haven't seen this. I definitely haven't.
I'm
seen
like, you
this.
don't have any like earworm when he says like, I've been ready my whole life, coach.
Nope.
You know, like no.
I
not at all.
have distinct memories in the back of my mind that maybe aren't even true. I have like made up alien implanted memories in the back of my mind where I remember like talking with my parents about like I can visualize the movie box at my parents' house. I can like I feel like I remember watching this movie, but I definitely did not see it. Like I definitely saw the slow clap. Like I saw that.
Yeah.
I've seen like clips and scenes of it, but I unless I just completely erased it from my mind, I did not see it. So I'm Team Val tonight. Val and I have never seen this.
I love Val.
I did watch it. I did watch it for this episode. But before we jump too much into it, Nat,
Yes.
what is this one about?
It is based on a true story.
Sure is.
Of a man, an adult man. No, I shouldn't start it like that. No,
Nat
so
is
he is
very
20.
focused on the fact that he's not a college student. He is an adult
Yeah.
man.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
he is a college student, but he's like an adult college
Yeah.
student, which
He's like
and he's playing
continued
sports with
studies.
kids, but
Yep.
whatever. Good for him though. Like
Good for
he
him.
honestly he did the damn thing, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this man, he grows up in a small town. He's been told his whole life he's too small to play football, even
Yep.
though he plays on his high school team and he apparently leads them in tackles, but apparently he's still continuously told he's too small for
Yep.
football.
Mhm.
Um, undiagnosed learning disorder, doesn't do well in school, so he can't get in to play on his dream team, Notre Dame.
Mhm.
And he, finally, after a tragedy, he decides to chase after his dream. So
Mhm.
he finds out about he actually just ditches his girlfriend, his family, and is completely homeless and moves
Mhm.
to the university, gets good grades at a different college, and then manages to get accepted into Notre Dame. Yay! And
Yay.
plays football for them finally.
Well
And
done.
that's
Well
the
done.
movie. Yeah.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
I did love the homeless and yet finds a place to live, because I watched this and Scarlett came in
Right?
like halfway through and sat down and watched like the latter half with us. And there was the point where he like basically starts living just like at the football field, like in
Stadium.
in
Yeah.
like
He's just
he's
the
just living there.
janitor's closet.
And it's like, understood that that's what he's doing and what have you, but my 10-year-old was just like, but he's breaking and entering, and I was like,
Yeah.
yes, but he's pursuing his dream. And she was like, yeah, but he's breaking and entering. I was like,
She's right.
yes, but it's a really beautiful moment. And she was like, no, he's
She's
breaking
right.
the
Good for her,
law.
though.
Yeah,
You
it was
should not break the law to chase your dreams, guys. That is bad. We do not condone that.
sometimes you have to break the law to to chase your dreams.
Well,
That's what I
Rudy
learned.
did.
That's what I learned. Um, so a couple of initial thoughts going into this movie.
Yeah.
I think part of I'll just admit this now so that anyone watching this episode and going forward can just know what to expect from me. I don't like a based on a true story movie. I think the majority of the reason behind that is because I feel like I'm being forced to go through this like very emotional, like sad journey with someone. And I just don't want my feels to be tugged on like that. Like I don't mind like watching a sad movie, but I feel like the second that like that screen moment comes up where it's like based on a true story, I'm like,
Yeah.
crap. Like here it goes. Cause it feels like
Like, are they trying to win an
intentionally-
Oscar?
Yeah, it feels intentionally like, let's show you like this, like typically sad, but also kind of like glowy, like moment where someone rises above. So I'm like, I already like kind of come across as jaded going into this movie, admittedly. I actually liked this one more than I thought I would. I will say that.
Yeah.
I felt like it was two very different movies. So like the first half of the movie was
Right.
like this poor kid who like all his whole like raison d'etre is to play for Notre Dame, which his family watches like religiously. It's like their whole family, everything. It's like Sandlot vibes where like this is their life, is football. But not a single person in his life is even kind of supportive, except for his like best friend, who then dies. So,
Yeah.
like, and it's only through like the death of his friend. Again, like, let's force you all to cry. Like, it's only through the death of his friend that he finally is just like, screw it. I'm going to like, I'm going to prove it to everyone, which I know, as you said, like, this is very American dream. And like this movie definitely like showcases more than any other film how to like rise above. And like, if you just work hard enough, like you can overcome all of these different obstacles, which is incredibly admirable. But I'm like, I feel like, and maybe that, obviously that worked for this. This is based on a true story. So this worked for the real life Rudy, but it feels like less and less possible these days. And I just like,
Oh
I
yeah,
just felt
absolutely.
bad for him the entire way through. It's just like the moment where his dad is, but like his dad, like a number of times is basically like, no, you
Horrible.
can't. We're poor. And like, this is as good as your life is
Like,
going to get. And you're
you don't
small and yeah.
don't expect that your life should be any better than this. Like, you're lucky to be working in the I don't, where were they working?
Oh, some like
Mines,
very
mills,
dangerous, yeah, smelt,
factory. I don't
yeah,
know, whatever it was.
yeah,
But like talk about shitty parenting, where it's like all you do is put your kid down and then tell them don't expect any better. You know, like what?
yeah. Which is actually kind of sad because so I read
Yeah.
and I
I
dropped
mean,
it
and that
in.
happens. It's
It
just
happens.
terrible.
It absolutely happens, and I certainly am not like being dismissive. If this is like it, you know, if there are many, many, many people, particularly within the United States, who come from these like, you know, predominantly large families, predominantly poor families, who I'm sure are told this on a regular
Hmm.
basis that they, you know, they are never going to do better than they are. Like, you know, you
Yeah.
just need to stay in your lane. Like, I get that. And actually, that's kind of an ignorant thing to say. There's probably people across every single, you know, socioeconomic level that are told that they, you know, they're
Yeah,
not
of
going to do any
course.
better than their space. I get that. I guess, did you notice? So I going into this movie, I felt like by the ads and by like my memory of having watched it originally, I felt like the biggest challenge that he was overcoming was his size and stature. But if you watch the movie, it's actually not, or at least not in the first half of the first movie, and then it switches
Yeah.
into like
Well, the
second movie
first half
mode.
of
The first
the
movie,
first
he's
half
over
of the movie, he's overcoming an undiagnosed
poverty
learning
and
disability.
not even so much a disability. Like he's overcoming like,
Well, he's
no, you're
dyslexic. It's not a disability, but it's like
yeah,
he never had the support system. Like nobody recognized it, and also that priest, it had me. So in his school, I like don't have a straight thought here. I do have a thought. It's happening. Come
we're,
on, guys.
we're going on it back.
Go, Natalie.
Follow us on this journey. Yeah.
Jesus. Um, so he's in a Catholic school, and at the time there was the priests or the brothers were teachers. And I remember my dad grew up in that kind of school system, or did grow up in that school system.
Yeah.
And I can hear him, like, I still remember my dad saying how, like, awful the brothers were, like how abusive and bullying, and
Yeah.
how, and so there is that scene in this movie where like the teacher, the priest, makes fun of him in front of the whole class, like, oh, he's just a daydreamer. It's like, you're a teacher, like,
Yeah.
and most teachers are extremely, like, I've never met a teacher that's like that, you know, like that's kind of the opposite of what actual teachers are like. And then he's like, when they go for the college tours, he won't even let him go. Like,
Yeah.
that's so shitty.
Did you think that that was because, so I had, and maybe I just like watched this or like misrepresented it in my mind, but I felt like for the whole first half of the movie, it was really much more about like expectations. It was like,
Yeah.
certainly I think his learning disability played into it a bit, but I think it was mostly like, you're from
Well,
a big family, you're going to work with your brothers and your father at the place that you've always worked. Like that is the top level of what you're going to get to. So like you're obviously
Yeah.
like not even going to come on this tour because like it's Notre Dame and there's no, like, even if you were to somehow magically get into this
Well-
school, like you couldn't afford it. They'd never take you, and you certainly wouldn't get on the football team. So like don't even
Well, he
come on
did
this
tell
trip.
him. He did tell him flat out, "You're too dumb." Like,
Yeah,
he's
that's
like,
true.
"You don't have the grades to do this."
That's true.
Like,
So
why
I guess
would
it
you
would
even
be more about
bother?
grades.
Like,
You're right. I guess that's
yeah.
true. In my mind, I was
it
like
was
on
awful.
the family like mission. I was just like,
It's like,
yeah.
even when Rudy, so he goes to the school, he's studying at the neighboring college, the
Mhm.
Jesuit college. I forget what it's called. I'm sorry. It was a long movie.
Oh,
And my brain is
man.
super scrambled today.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to
But-
pretend to do that. Someone
No.
will drop it into the comments and we can cite it correctly. I want to say like
And-
Holy Cross something, but that's probably completely wrong. So
Yeah. So he's studying at the Jesuit school because this priest
gives him a break.
sort of takes him under his wing. Yeah, gives him a break, which was wild to me to start out with, like
I
how
know,
the
yeah.
whole scene unfolded. But he he gets his grades up. So he's not dumb, but they certainly spend like the first half of the movie portraying how stupid he's supposed to be, like how incapable he is, and
Yeah.
it was so when he goes back at Christmas to go and visit his family, I'm like, why would you? Like, they're horrible. They were horrible to you. They lied to you your whole life. They told you were dumb and you were worthless, and you're not. And like, why would you go back and see them? And then when
Yeah.
he finally does get into Notre Dame, and he goes home to like show his dad, and I thought he was going to be like rub it in his face and be like, thanks for all the support, asshole,
Yeah.
like, but no, he was like, I just want my dad to be proud of me. It's like, he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't, like, Rudy's dad doesn't deserve Rudy's respect. You know what I mean?
Well, and this is kind of
Like, the dad was only proud of him because he got on the football team.
this is kind of so so again I just want to say this because
It's so sad.
I read about this also made me like incredibly sad, like as especially as a
Yeah.
parent. I was just like, oh my gosh, I know that this exists in this world, but I was like, I can't even imagine saying to your kid like, nah, like you're never gonna make it, and then just double down on it like all the way through, which he
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
But it is important for everyone to know that like the actual true story behind this, that did not happen. His parents and his
Okay.
entire family were incredibly supportive of him all the way through. And
Okay,
a
Jesus.
lot of this was like
Make it so harsh in the
yeah, so deep
movie.
breath, everyone. A lot of this was the movie makers trying to make it like as much of a he has to overcome everything kind
Yeah.
of moment. He certainly overcame a ton in real life, but that
Yeah.
moment, and then also the moment at the very end where the second coach that comes in like doesn't let him play, and they have this iconic moment where the whole team basically stands up for him and they all lay their jerseys down, and that apparently the actual coach has quoted a number of times basically saying that, just to be clear,
Didn't
like
happen.
I agreed to this for the movie because I adore Rudy, but like I let him play. Like
Yeah.
no one had to revolt against me.
Yeah, it
I
seemed
let
very
him
much he was
I let
the
him
heart and
play.
soul of the team,
Yeah.
right? And it would make sense that he would do it for the morale of the team, maybe not against such an important game because from what I understand of college ball, I work at a university and I used to work closely with a lot of the
Holy
sports.
Cross. I was close. Was
Holy
I?
Cross,
I
thank
think I
you.
was.
I
Oh,
said
yeah.
Jesuit.
Yeah.
Close enough.
It's close. It's fine.
So, thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you, Paul.
Paul. Paul just told us the name of the college was Holy Cross College. Um, yeah, so having worked with football teams, like the coach does have a financial responsibility to the
Mm,
university and to what do they call them? Boosters.
mm.
Uh, so there's like a lot of private donors in the US, from what
Yeah.
I understand,
Yeah.
not so much allowed or part of the rules in Canada. And I only know this because two of the university that I'm with, their coaches were or are American,
Mhm.
and we have a lot of American players come up. So I would always pepper them with questions. I'm like, is it as crazy? Like, do the boosters really like tell you who can play and who cannot play? And they're like, yeah, that happens. And yeah, so I used to get all the dirt. So college ball also is big. Like
Yeah.
it's almost
Uh,
bigger than the NFL.
It's
Like it's
yeah, it
or
is its
as big.
own it
It's
is its own like
important.
class of fans and following. Like it
Yeah.
really is its own sport. Like they are both
Yeah,
football,
yeah,
but it
yeah.
is certainly its own thing
Like
for
I
sure.
actually looked it up today. I'm like, oh wait, Notre Dame is a college team. It's not an NFL team. Like
I know, and it's
it
so
didn't
funny.
occur to me that I'm like, oh, it's just college ball. And then I'm like,
Mm,
wait, no, it's in the US. It's not just college ball. It's like a full on
yeah.
thing. It's a business. Anyway, so my point being, when the coach let him play, I was like, that is really a
It
big
would have
deal
been a big deal. Yeah.
because of the financial responsibility that he has to make sure that the team wins,
Yeah.
like it's actually crazy. And
I
it's
guess
funny
I
because I'm like,
don't
ah, in real life that wouldn't have happened. I'm like, wait, Natalie, this movie was real life.
I guess I don't. I really struggle with, and I say this as someone who's completely ignorant to this world. I know
Yeah.
very little about football. I know even less about college football. So if you are a college football person, Please don't come at me. I'm saying this from a place of honesty and vulnerability.
We will be willing to learn about it, but we
Willing
do
to
not
learn-
know about it.
willing to learn about it. I was just like, it felt like I understand. I actually completely understand Notre Dame's position and the coaches and like
Yeah.
I actually get that, and I do think that the system that they had felt very generous to me. Like the fact that he was able to actually even get on the team at all,
Yeah.
practice with them. Like as you were saying at the beginning, he was in his 20s at that point. So like the fact that they
Yeah.
allow walk-ins, like all of that actually felt much more generous than I would have imagined.
Yes.
What I really struggled with was partially his family and partially like the what you allow like the full team to do. I was like, why can't the full team just come out and like sit on the sidelines and support the team? Like
Yeah, that's wild to me. I
like
don't understand
yeah,
that.
that was wild to me. And then I was also like, okay,
And
so
he
like
didn't have his name on his jersey?
so I looked that up. I was really bothered by
why?
that. I
Because
was
I
like,
thought even like practice jerseys you have like, what are you talking about?
apparently that actually is true to the full game, and they did that because they wanted people to be able to easily identify him on. So he was like the only one that didn't have his name on the jersey, and it was so that people could immediately identify him. But I thought that was really weird as well. I was like,
Like
wait a
in
sec,
the
where is this?
movie or in
In
real
both,
life?
in the movie and in real life, he did not have his name on the back of his
What?
jersey. Yeah, because he was like a walk on basically for that. That's not the right terminology. Again, don't come at me. but yeah,
No,
he,
I think that's ridiculous.
yeah.
I think every player, even the bench warmers, would have like a proper uniform,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a full kit, like
And I was,
like
I guess I kept
that's
thinking to
crazy.
myself, so there's that moment that you spoke about a little bit earlier where he goes home for like a holiday. I think it's
Yeah.
Christmas, one of the holidays. And he like tells his his family that he got into Notre Dame, and he's like telling them that he's on the team, and he asks his dad to come out to a game, and his dad's like, no, I'm only going to watch this on TV. And I was like, all right. Like in my mind, I was like, okay, like maybe he's giving this gruff response because they don't have enough money and it's expensive and cumbersome to come out to the game. Fine. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. But I was like, there's got to be like another different way to like prove to his family that he's on the team. Like, can he like bring home a jersey or like photos?
But even like,
or,
why
like,
would you
go to
why
a
would
game
you
with
not
his
believe-
dad and bring his dad like and sit next to each other and watch the game? Like it felt like a
Yeah.
weird
I
like
feel like
a weird ask. Like that ask, like
Yeah.
I want to be able to play a game so that my dad will come out and watch me was like a weird ask to ask the
Yeah.
coach. Like
yeah, I think, and also they did show it quickly, like the dad, he was super proud, so he told everybody, like everybody
Yeah.
he knows,
Yeah.
my son is playing for Notre Dame, and then they're like, well, we don't see him on TV, so it can't be real. So his
Oh,
then
yeah, I
his
guess maybe
dad
it's like a
sort of
moment
flips
of-
the script, was like,
yeah.
yeah, well, like if you're not on TV, you're not really on the team, which was like again really shitty. So let's talk about Rudy's real dad in this movie, the janitor.
Yeah, exactly. Let's erase the movie dad and talk about the actual dad. The
At
gender
the
who's not a
end-
real person. So let's dive in. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, that makes me so sad.
He's
I'm like,
he's
that's
a
his
mix
real
of a
dad.
he's a mix of a few different like
Okay.
mentors in Rudy's life. But yeah,
That
not a real,
he-
he's real to
okay.
us, Nat. Do continue.
He is. So Rudy, like he helps Rudy out right off the bat because Rudy charms people with his, I guess, naivete.
Yeah, Paul says I
Um,
give him credit for not listening to anyone, and this is like the
Yeah,
the best description of him. He listens, and then he's like, "Yeah, but I'm just gonna like he doesn't."
He doesn't hear. He
He
just
does
is
not
gonna
hear,
do what
yeah.
he's gonna do.
Yep.
So he goes to this, I guess, the head groundskeeper of the field of
Yeah.
the stadium,
Mhm.
and is like, I want a job, I'll even work for free. And the guy's like super nice and it's like, okay, I'll actually pay you minimum wage. And then finds out he has nowhere to stay, and Rudy was sneaking in to stay in the janitor's closet essentially at
Mhm.
the stadium, but then gives him a key. And it's like wink wink nudge nudge, don't tell it, like I don't know anything about it. And then so they build this relationship throughout the years that Rudy is trying to get into Notre Dame, and while he is at Notre Dame, and
Mhm.
while he's on the team. And he says, like, please come and watch me play if I ever get what did they call it? Shirted? If I ever I can't remember.
Yeah.
Like, but
It
if he gets
was
to go on the field, if he actually gets to suit up.
now that you've said shirted,
And
that's the only word in my mind. So we'll assume that that's what
it
it
might be
was.
that. I don't remember. But um and so then Rudy has a moment, and it's his last practice in his last semester at university,
Mhm.
and he is not on the roster, and he's really upset. And that's it, that leads to the team, getting the coach to put him in
Yeah.
and all of that. But there's this really nice moment where Rudy is like, he's so upset, and he's like, you know what, this is the last practice for the last game for my
He
career.
finally snapped after
Yeah.
years of should
His
have
whole
snapped.
life.
Yeah.
His whole life.
Yeah.
His whole life of being shat on. He finally is like, you know what? No. And he quits. And then he bumps into the janitor, and the janitor gives him this pep talk, and it's like, I used to play on this team,
Yeah.
and I quit before ever getting to play on the field because and I thought it was because of my color and all this. And it was so heartfelt and so heartwarming. So Rudy goes back, and the team cheers him on. And all of that leads to when Rudy does get to play, and he does get on the field, and he sees the janitors there watching him, but not while he's at work. He's actually there to watch the
Yeah.
game. And I cried. I was like, oh, like his real dad is here to support him, even though his real dad was there to support him. And the whole family, all 50 siblings or whatever it was that his gigantic family.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was the moment that
was the
I
moment for
loved
you?
the most.
I would agree with that one. That moment, I didn't end up crying in this movie, which is actually big
I
for me because I
teared
feel
up,
like I
to be
cry in
fair.
every movie these days, but I didn't cry in this one.
Yeah.
But I do think I just want to say this, that Sean Astin is absolutely incredible. I felt this well before I watched this movie. I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings. I'm a
Huge.
fan of Goonies. I adore this man. But there is something about his purity and just genuineness throughout this entire movie. He really does an absolutely fantastic job. So I have to
Yeah,
say
he
that
carried it. Yeah.
in the words of in the heartwarming that everyone talks about this movie, it really is him as an actor,
Yeah.
and
That brings that to life.
bringing that to life, because I do think that all of the moments of just every single thing that's thrown at him, it would be actually pretty easy to screw this character up, because because it could come across as oh my gosh, guy, just let it go. Literally everything is he could come across as delusional and unlikable in how delusional he is. And
Yeah.
the way that Sean Astin plays this really does make this character seem there's something in the back of your head where you're no, he's right. He'll pull it off. It'll be
Yeah.
okay. And so I really do think that a lot of what I loved about this movie was just watching him and the different interactions with the players, with his family, with his, with this man that he works for and with. I think there's there's something about and that moment I think probably hit you so deeply because you're rooting for him all the way through because he's so incredibly likable. And then when he hits that moment, you as a viewer, as well as everyone else in his world, are just oh no, really, you're now is the point that you're gonna give up. You're here. This is the last. This is the last practice. You've been to every other practice. This is the moment. And so I think that's what's so kind of incredible about that scene and what makes that scene. I agree. Probably the best one in the movie is just that it's that moment where it's no, you've got to be kidding me. You've literally you have not backed down from
you have to go back.
anything else. This is the moment that you have to go back.
So for me, the most unrealistic scene in the movie is when he does go back. So he's late for practice, and his coach is just pats him on the back. He's like, "Oh, I'm happy you're here." Would no coach ever be okay with you being late?
No, they'd be like, "Get out. We've replaced you."
Especially at a professional level like this. There's no way the coach would just be like, "Yay!" I was like, "Yeah, no, it would never happen." I have never witnessed anything like that before in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about what's his name? D-Bob?
Yeah, let's talk
Hey,
about
what was
him.
the point of the character?
I I
Like
mean,
that
he's a real
whole
life character, I guess. So he's a real life person. So I guess that. But I agree. Like I love the
What was the
actor.
point in the
So
movie? Yes, I love Jon
like.
Favreau.
So I'm
I
like,
also love him as a writer.
part of me is like, okay, but it's Jon Favreau, so we need to protect him. But then on the other
Yeah.
side, I'm like, he's like slimy and unlikable. And I know that
I
he
mean,
helps Rudy
yes.
overcome, like he helps Rudy basically get into Notre Dame, and he ends up becoming
Yes.
like a likable character. But like at no point is he like nice. Like he's slimy
He
all the way
makes
through.
friends with Rudy because he sees Rudy's sort of naive, innocent way he sort of fumbles through life. Because he sees this really hot girl
I was gonna say,
talking
it
to
seems
him.
entirely sexual. Like he's literally only friends with Rudy because
Yeah.
he can use
So
Rudy to
he's
get to women, which is like
yes,
slimy
because
and
women
weird.
see Rudy as safe
Yeah,
because he seems very simple, you know,
yeah,
and completely naive to the fact that Sean Astin is very good looking. So
yeah.
like he's, you know, so he seems oblivious to it and he's like, hey, I'll help you get good grades if you help me hook up with hot chicks.
Mm.
Because, and he doesn't even tell him, at least in the movie, like, hey, we're doing this because, you know, like I'm using you
Yeah.
to creep on women.
I don't even know
He
if
gives very
Rudy would
incel vibes.
care. Like the thing
No,
about
well, I
Rudy's
mean,
character is that he really just
Rudy figures it out.
he's on a direct path to just do what
Yeah.
he wants to do. So I think as long as
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like super terrible, I don't think he cares. So
No.
but you know what? And I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
So I kept thinking to myself in their interactions and kind of like all of the scenes that happen at Holy Cross, is that the name of Holy Cross
Yes.
College? Let me scroll
Yeah.
back. At Holy Cross College, I was like, if these characters and this storyline was occurring in a high school in a 90s movie and it was
Mhm.
like she's all that kind of like vibes, I feel like I would have liked his character a lot better. Like it would have just been like he was this like slightly slimy secondary character that like maybe learns his lesson by the end. But in the university setting
No.
and as a TA, I was like,
Mhm.
oh, like you should have outgrown this in high school. And even like
Yeah.
at the high school level, like you should have been learning a lesson throughout the movie, and he doesn't learn a lesson,
No,
and
no,
he's
no.
not a teenager. He's not even like he's a TA. So like you're talking about Rudy an adult, and then this guy
Yeah.
who's a TA at a Catholic university. And I
Yes.
I don't know. I had
So
an issue. I had an issue
the
with this
scene where
character.
the scene where this hot girl comes up to him in the cafeteria and starts talking to him, and it's kind of like this incredulous moment where you're like, is this girl actually going to ask him to the dance? And it's like, oh no, it's her
Yeah.
quote unquote ugly roommate.
Yeah.
Which of course the girl wasn't ugly,
Yeah.
and D-Bob ends up with her later
That
anyways.
part
'cause I
actually
guess-
made me feel slightly better about him, but I feel like they could have done like a
Yeah.
better resolution all the way through. Like I don't know.
So
Yeah.
what surprised me, I think, the most in this movie was when D-Bob announces, I'm going to Miami to law school. And I'm like, but you're a mute around women and lawyers need to speak, and like over 50% of the population is female. You're gonna have to change something. Like, I'm like, it didn't make any sense. It made no sense to me. I was like, what's happening? And then when he came back for the football game,
Which wasn't
like,
that much like it didn't feel like it was like
a semester later or something.
oh, it felt like it was like a couple of weeks later, and I was like, really? We're just gonna fly back that quickly
Well, was
from Miami?
it so I think Rudy was on, so it's before senior year. So he had at least, so I think because you have to transfer, they say Notre Dame only takes transfers
Before
for
the senior
juniors,
year.
like
So he only
before the
did
senior
one
year.
So he
So he
got
did a
in his
year-
senior year. So he only did a
Yes.
year at Notre Dame. Yeah.
So, and D-Bob leaves one semester in till like a two
Okay, you're right. So it's probably a
year,
semester
right?
later because it's his
So
last
it's a
game. Yeah.
semester later
Yeah.
because it's the last game.
Yep.
But okay, all this. Why does he have a limo, a fur-trimmed coat, drinking champagne?
Because because this is, cover your ears, everyone, because this is an ignorant thing to say, but this is a rich kid school. Like this is a school that like this is like Harvard. This is like Harvard
Okay.
and Yale. Like this is like
But I
a
was like,
school that you get into, which I feel like they didn't.
so he didn't know his friend was homeless the whole time and he's filthy stinking rich and he could have just let his friend bunk with him?
Well, again, I don't know, maybe if this is like my own
What?
lens of watching this, but like that's what I couldn't like
shocked.
let go the entire movie. Like the thing, and
Why is he
again,
homeless the whole time?
I'm watching this in like 2024. He's not
And
homeless once
in
he
his senior year, okay, so
when he
the
gets
senior
into
year,
Notre Dame, he has a room.
Yeah.
You can see him in his
He has
like in his
dorm.
dorm room. Yeah.
but I thought you weren't in dorms in your senior year.
There's also like, can we be really clear for a second? Like, so
I'm
real
so
life,
confused.
real life Rudy. So here's what happened with real life
Okay.
Rudy. Read it
All
in
right.
the sources down below if you want to know the truth. But real life Rudy, in the in between time between high school and doing this whole journey, was in the Navy, and so he was able to get into.
That's why he has an
both-
army recipe
yes,
with him.
which
I
is
was
why
like,
he
where
has
did he
the
get that bag?
Yeah.
That was also one of my questions.
Yeah, so that's from
Got
the
it,
Navy,
okay.
and so he financially would have been able to get into both of those schools because of the GI Bill. In the movie, it is not even kind of believable to me. And again,
But
maybe this
he
is
has
a 24.
$1,000.
Well, that he can get into either school, and like so, it's like okay, so he can on his part-time job working at the
minimum wage.
at minimum wage at the
Yeah.
at the football stadium, he's somehow able to like do all of his classes at Notre Dame, right? So he's still taking
Yeah.
full classes, otherwise he'd be thrown out.
Yeah.
So he has to pay for books, admission, dorm, and he wouldn't be able to spend all that much time at his part-time job because he has to train for football.
But
Like,
he quit his job. He quit his job when he got into Notre Dame.
so yeah, there's no way he can
So
afford that. Like he
right.
can't, which is why everyone else around him are all rich kids. Like so that's why his
Yeah.
friend, the TA, is a rich kid. That's why there's the other like
No, I know
football player
Notre Dame is
who's a rich
Notre
kid.
Dame's an Ivy League school, right?
Yeah, like
Isn't
so
it
you're
Ivy
not,
League?
yeah, I think so. So you're not
So
getting
it's like
into
something like a 60 to 80K minimum
well maybe
tuition.
like well
Like-
definitely not now, way more than that now. But yeah, it's yeah.
You know what I
senior-
mean? So, but even with the priest, so
he was in the Navy, so that's why he was
Okay,
able to
so
afford
that's
to
why he
go
has
to
money.
school. Yeah.
another question was like, who's paying for this? Because even when he shows up at the school and the school is closed because
Yeah.
it's like dawn, you see the sun rising, and he talks to the security guard who's like thinks he's crazy and he's like, you need a priest, like you can't just show up to the school and demand to be a student here. That's crazy. Like, and brushes him off. He literally then goes talks to a priest, and then the priest thinks he's trying to join the seminary, but then through a muddled conversation finds out he's not, and Rudy tells him his dream that he wants to go, and this is when the priest takes him under his wing
So maybe
to go to college, right?
I was
To
willing
help
to
him
believe.
get into Notre Dame.
I was willing
But who
to
paid
believe.
for the college too? Like, and how did he just get in?
Well, I was willing to believe, and who knows what, I don't actually know what's true or what's not true in this particular instance, but in my mind,
Yeah.
I was willing to believe that a religious institution, so the Holy Cross College, was willing to just be like, okay, like if you keep your grades up, we will allow you to stay. Like it, like a sponsorship of sorts, where they're like, we'll let you stay here, like
Okay.
as an act of goodwill. I believed that. I did not believe that of Notre Dame. So like once he got into Notre Dame, like as a parent right now, like my kid who is 13 desperately wants to go to MIT, and like
Smart enough.
yeah, I think he could get in. When he gets his acceptance letter to MIT, like we're gonna
You're
have
gonna
a
cry.
yay MIT, and then we're gonna be like, we can't afford MIT. Like there's gonna be
Yeah.
like a balancing act. So
Like
it-
he's gonna need some kind of scholarship because who can
Yeah.
actually afford these schools?
who can actually afford these schools? And I'm sure that they were equally expensive back then. But I just yeah, it's
Well,
like,
I think they were comparably expensive.
yeah, sorry, not equally. Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
And maybe who knows? Maybe because he was in the Navy, maybe there was like an exception from that, or like
They
maybe he
should have
was able to
added
work
that
hard.
in the movie, and like we could have used a lot less creepy D-Bob
Well, he
And
was a real person, so he is.
well, no, I realized that there's just the portrayal in the movie. I was just like, I don't even know why we're watching this part.
Can I ask an ignorant question since you work at a university?
Yes.
Can you be a TA at another university? I thought like TA you were only able to be a TA at like the school you were attending. Like I didn't
Yeah.
think you can work as a TA at like any school.
No. You have to be a student.
I had so many questions about that. I was like,
No,
why
but
is
he
he at
was.
Holy Cross when he was a student at Notre Dame? Is what he kept saying.
Oh,
He was
I thought he was a student at Holy
no, because
Cross.
he says and if you're watching
Unless
this
it's
in the
like a
live studio
partner
audience,
like a sister college.
please correct me, and maybe I just don't understand enough about these schools, but he says that he has no problem talking to the women at Notre Dame, but since he's been a TA at this school, he can't get any that's like his original claim
Oh,
when he's
right.
talking
Yeah.
with Rudy. And I was like, how does
I
he
don't
go to
know.
Notre Dame but is a TA at this other school? Like are
I
they
just assumed he was bullshitting Rudy and didn't actually go
maybe
to
he
Notre
was.
Dame.
Maybe he was, but I was so confused. I was like, I have so
I
many
don't
questions.
know.
But I guess
No,
maybe
you
like
have to. You
maybe
have to
they're
be a student
connected
there.
in some way. But
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. Maybe that.
maybe. I don't. I don't know.
Josh is agreeing with us and says, I think this is why I didn't watch this movie again. Again, I couldn't suspend my disbelief. Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
so the parts of the movie we loved,
yeah.
let's talk about.
Let's talk
Because
about it. Okay.
the
Fair.
second half of the movie, so when he gets into Notre Dame, we're calling
Perfect.
like movie two.
Movie 2,
Okay?
yeah.
That was the best. I loved when he's like practicing with the team and he has so much heart. Even his tryout, it's like
He
all the
wins
coaches are like, I don't
everyone
want him, I don't
over.
want him.
Yeah.
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 And I love that.
Yeah.
And not enough football in the movie. Like I wish
Not
there was
enough
more
football
football.
in the movie. And I like say that
Yeah.
as a
Like it
like
wasn't,
not
I
really a
guess it
sports
wasn't
fan.
important.
It
I guess it wasn't important because it was more just about Rudy's personal
it was about like grit and like
growth.
the American dream
Yeah.
and like and you can do
Yeah.
anything kind of motivation. But yeah, I really wish that there had been more football or like more
Yeah.
scenes with him and the team. Like I have to admit, I did find it. I think it was a beautiful moment. I'm not going to say that I didn't enjoy this part of the scene of the movie, but the moment where like the team stands up for him felt
Yeah,
a
the
little
captain
bit.
goes in and like throws in his jersey and
Yeah, it felt like a little bit contrived because there's only like one other moment in the movie, but like that's almost like the beginning of their relationship together where like they basically like are giving Rudy a hard time for like trying too hard and he's basically like if I don't put 110% in like you fail like I need to be my best for you and it's this like
yeah.
beautiful moment.
Which, to
But
be
that's
honest, when
it.
that player told him like you're gonna get killed if you keep going like this, he's right. Okay,
Yeah.
so he was 100% right. I mean, he
Yeah.
wasn't obviously because Rudy survived in real life, but like his biggest adversary was not his learning disorder and any of that. It really was his size because like people they were literally 3 times bigger than him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and they would like there's no way he didn't escape with severe TBI. Like,
Rudy, are you okay?
like
This is our t-shirt
Rudy,
for
I
the
hope
day.
you're getting so like go see an occupational therapist. They can help you like because TBI is for your whole life. It's not just at injury.
Yeah. Well,
But
I mean,
oh man, like they would have creamed him. They would have destroyed him physically. Like it was anyways, it was admirable to see like the grit and all of that. But it was the 70s, so they didn't have so much, I
yeah,
guess,
true.
responsibility to injury prevention.
True.
And
did.
the health of the athlete as they do nowadays. But
I did. I will
Rudy.
share this epic moment, and I sometimes wish that I like could film our movie watching, but I definitely paused the movie like one point I was watching with Dane and Scarlett, and I was like, "Oh, that guy looks like a younger, better looking Vince Vaughn." And then we
It
just
is a
continued
younger, better
watching.
looking Vince Vaughn.
And then I like read the facts later, and I was like, "Oh, it just was Vince Vaughn, and he was just
Yeah.
younger and better looking."
Yeah.
Yeah, this was apparently his movie debut, which he was one of the other players. But again,
O'Hare.
I'm with you that I really wanted I wanted more montages of, and they could have even been montages with like music playing, but I wanted more moments of Rudy with the team, like
Yeah,
at winning
because they
them
seem to
over. Like
yeah.
I question mark.
Like we just assume he won them over because he showed up 110% like every practice.
Yeah.
But I like we kind of get snippets of it, like when he quits, you know,
Yeah.
and the whole team is out there to support him because they know he's going to be devastated.
Yeah.
I'm like tearing up just saying that out loud. Wow. God. I was like, that was really precious. So like you kind of get snippets of it, but yeah, I wish the movie focused less on like his shitty family and
Which isn't
more
even
on
true. His poor
it's not
family.
true though. I feel so bad because his family apparently was not at all like that.
And he
I did like that
apparently-
the whole family showed up, like all like whatever
Yeah, it was
8
cute.
siblings. Though I did hate that his older brother, who was just insanely not the older brother that stole his girlfriend, but stole his
Frank.
girlfriend. Rudy just walked away from his girlfriend
Yeah.
to go pursue his dream, like his fiance. Anyways, and then his brother ends up with her. Good for them.
Good
But
for them, yeah.
but the mean brother
Frank,
who
not
yeah.
real. So if it makes you feel any better,
Oh,
also not real.
well, thank God.
Yeah.
Because he was a D-bag.
Well, I
Like
guess
he's literally at the game. So Rudy had to call him, had to beg him to come, beg him to make his dad come. You're getting free tickets to a freaking Notre Dame game. Like, what do you mean you had to beg him to come? At least just go for the game.
yeah.
Even if you don't like your brother. Anyways, shows up, and then at first he's like, oh, look, there he is, number 45. And then you could see, like, as everybody starts chanting, Rudy, Rudy, to get him to get the coach to put him in,
Yep.
the brother looks furious. Like, he looks disgusted and pissed off. And I was just like, oh, jump off into a lake.
Yeah, no, he's
what's
not
wrong with
real.
you?
He's supposed to be
Okay, good.
he's supposed to be representative of like all of the voices that like told Rudy he couldn't do it. So you hate him
Wow.
because you're supposed to hate everyone. In the same way that the mentor character, the father character that you really like,
His
is
real
like-
dad.
his real dad is like the collection of all of the like. There's I guess we're 3 or 4
His
people that
support.
like really supported him and
Yeah.
fought through. The real Rudy is in the stands at that game, right behind the father, cheering, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's
And the
cool. I'll have to
real,
go back and look.
I want to call him D-Bag, but that's not his name. His
D-Bob.
his friend, it's begging for it. His friend D-Bob, the real D-Bob, was in the movie as a bartender. So it's kind of nice that they were
That's
all
cool.
involved and they had, it seems like they had some level of
Say.
control over it. I did like, I'm going to quote Paul sharing facts over here, and Paul says, Dan Devine, who is the second coach in the movie, was upset about the scene in which several players laid down their jerseys on his desk in a form of protest for not letting Rudy suit up for the upcoming Georgia Tech game. According to Devine, that incident never took place, and if it had, the players would have been booted off the team.
Absolutely.
Which I absolutely love. He's like, no,
Yeah,
we would have
especially
fired them.
and I'm like, I'm sorry, especially like I just don't have faith in like the kind-heartedness of people
Yeah.
nowadays. But I'm like, in the 70s, the black captain of Notre Dame would have been kicked off the team if
Yeah.
he had pulled this stunt.
Yeah.
Which for me made
Yeah, we
it
needed
even
the rich
more
white player to come
heartwarming.
on.
Yeah, I know. Like Jesus.
Yeah.
I like it made it more heartwarming and more touching for me that it was
Yeah, same.
like a young
Yeah.
black like football captain that did that took that risk because
Mhm.
I'm like I mean I think it would be a big risk today from what you see in the news, like
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it really would be. Yeah. He was I
yeah,
again I
that
wanted
had-
more of
that
his
was amazing.
story. I wanted to know I wanted to
I
know
wanted
the
to
other football players better.
more about the players.
Yeah.
And I did like at the end, so O'Hara, who was Vince Vaughn's character, got really pissed at Rudy in one of the practices, and treated him poorly until Rudy won him over later. And you see that in this final game. He's like, look, if we don't score a touchdown now, Rudy won't be able to get on the field because we need because it's a different play, you know?
Yeah.
They needed to be on the defense instead of the offense. So he does that. They score this like they have like the play of the goddamn year just to get this kid on the field. Like, for what, 8 seconds
For
or something?
if it makes you feel better, it actually
Oh, it
was
was amazing.
he ended up getting to play in real life 3 different plays, I guess. So he was actually on the field
Yeah.
longer. The
Yeah, I mean
Rudy
8 seconds, but there's lots of stop in American
the
style
Rudy,
football,
yeah,
so-
exactly. An eternity.
Yeah.
And the Rudy chant did actually happen, although slightly differently, but the Rudy chant did happen. And he
Yeah.
was carried off. He was like one of the like only or few people that was
The
actually carried
last.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
They
was
said that at the end
actually,
of the movie. I
this was
love the end of the movie, the fun facts, like, because like, not fun facts, that's us. Like
we
at the
can
end
call
of a
them fun
true
facts.
story,
Yeah.
at the end of a true story movie, they usually say like where they are, or like what came of them after the moment of the movie.
Yeah.
And the fun fact in this was he was the last person that got carried off the field at Notre Dame, and
Mhm.
that 5 of his younger siblings all went to college.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what about Rudy? Like, what happened to him? What was his plan after? Like, he did it, right? Like, he had this
Done.
one
Life mission achieved.
singular dream, right? His whole life since he was a little kid. And it's finished. So what did he do next?
He basically
I'm like,
became like a motivational speaker. He wrote a book about it. Like it was like now that he had achieved
nice.
his dream, he just basically spent the rest of
Good
his
for
life,
him.
or he's still alive. Is spending the rest of his life talking about this experience. But yeah, I feel like it would be. I have this feeling like often actually in
Like,
my
I
day
would
to
have liked
day.
that better. Like, instead of his five of his siblings
Yeah,
got
where is he
college
now?
degrees,
Or
it
like
would have been like, is motivational speaker about following your dreams. Like, that would have been cool to know. They should have put that at the end of the movie.
oh no, Paul is giving us this just in fact. In 2011, Ruettiger was charged with securities fraud in connection with his role as chairman of Rudy Beverage Inc. Oh no, not a good
Oh,
person. That's okay. Sean Astin's still okay, everyone. So it's all
yes.
good. It's gonna be fine.
Sean Astin
It's gonna
is
be fine.
still seems to be a
Save
wonderful
Sean.
person.
Save Sean.
We love Sean.
Yeah, it was weird that they didn't. I don't know. This would have like definitely called for that, like that like end credit montage where they show like the photo of the actor and then like the real photo and then like the photo of the
Yeah.
actor and like real photos.
They
with
did show a
facts.
quick picture of him with
They
the
did.
team, which
They
was
did.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Does
did.
not look like Sean Astin.
Yeah, that's fine. No
But
one
it's
looks
hard
like
to
Sean
be
Astin.
as cute as Sean Astin,
Yeah.
So
Sean Astin is not actually all that. So I know many of us like know him from like Goonies when he was a child, Lord of the Rings where he is a hobbit, and then this movie where he is short.
Stranger Things
He's it's Stranger Things. He is not
and 51st
actually
Dates.
all that short. Like I looked it up. I think he's like
He
5'6" or
isn't?
5'7". He's like
Okay, no, but that's short. That's
but
shorter
he's
than
not
us.
like as drastically short as everyone's making
Well, I
him
mean,
out
he's
to
not
be.
he's not an
He's not a
actual
hobbit. He's not an
Like,
actual
wait,
hobbit.
okay, no, but I mean, like 5'6", 5'7" is exactly how short I thought he was. Okay,
He's
so
like
that's
He's
okay.
like a tall woman, but they make him seem like he's like 5'2". Like he's not 5'2", everyone. Like he is
No,
like
but I mean, like
he is not all that
I'm
short.
5'8", and when the football team would come up and be like, hey, Miss Natalie, like to ask me for whatever. Anyway,
Yeah, he was definitely
stuff with work,
dwarfed by the
right?
football team, 100%.
I
but
was
he's not.
dwarfed by the football team. Like Concordia University's football team, they're like giants.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them, most of them.
Well, you're
okay?
not
Like
all
there's
that far off from Sean Astin height, so the two of you could be, you could hang out. Don't wear
Yeah.
spike heels near him.
So
but-
next to I guess next to the football players, he does look smaller though than me, I suppose, thinking about that.
Yeah, but I just feel like they may because
Anyways.
he's near the foot. I just wanted to say that in defense of Sean Astin.
He's
Josh is
not
saying that
a
Josh
little
is shorter than
person.
Sean Astin. So there we go. And
Yeah.
Paul is saying he's actually 5'5". Oh, I lied. He's 5'5". That does feel shorter. I feel like
Okay.
5'6" made it feel. Paul, you've ruined my whole day. Thanksgiving is canceled.
So he is like a Hobbit's is.
He is not a Hobbit's, although in my mind he will forever be a Hobbit's. He's like so pure. There's something about him that's just so
Do you know
wonderfully
how
kind.
often every time I see a potato, including on our show, I have his
True.
voice in my head saying, potato, boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. It
We need
lives
that
with me
soundbite.
forever.
We need that soundbite. I'll have to snag that one from this episode so we can play
Potato.
that. Potato. Yeah, he's so
Oh,
great.
Sean Astin, I love you.
Well, we've made it all the way to the end, and we made Val happy. So at least we succeeded in that. I'm sorry if you were not if you were a giant fan of Rudy and you've come in to like have a moment. I do apologize because I feel like we didn't do you credit. But
Honestly, I feel this movie it was a good rewatch for us now to remind
Yeah.
us that the construct of the American dream, don't let it die.
Don't let
It's
it
still there,
die.
guys.
It's still there.
Do everything you can to go and get it.
Yep. But
It's that
maybe
time.
don't play
Well, don't
football
break the
if you're
law.
that small. Yeah, maybe don't break the law, and maybe also don't like put yourself in like a traumatic brain injury kind of space. Like maybe don't play football for Notre Dame if you're 5'5", because that feels like a bad move. Like maybe we
I
now have
mean,
much more information that that may not be safe for you.
unless you are very, very quick
Unless you're
and you can be
very fast.
quarterback.
Yeah, but don't be like the
Yeah.
tackle guy, whatever that's called. Don't be that guy. Be the running away guy or the running with the ball
Linebacker,
guy.
Katie. Linebacker.
Don't be
Katie, we used to watch football all the time.
I know.
Like,
I
you
know.
should know this.
I know. And
You
I
live in the
yeah,
US.
I
You're
know.
in Patriots territory. You should know a little bit more about
I
football. I feel like that's safe.
I
Like, you need to be
cheer
safe.
for the Tennessee Titans. So
Don't say that in Massachusetts, Katie.
I know. It's fine. I cheer for the Montreal Canadiens and the Tennessee Titans. Those are my two teams here in Boston. I'm proud to say it.
Oh,
Proud
boy.
to say it. I will say, so I
Yeah.
have a Tennessee Titans jersey because my sister-in-law bought that for me years ago, and I still wear it back from McNair days. Rest in peace, Steve
Mhm.
McNair. And I do have a couple of Patriots t-shirts, and my kids all have obviously Patriot stuff, but
Okay, good. So they're safe.
yeah, but
I
yeah.
feel like you're not
We're
allowed to
making
name
Val
even
cry.
one.
You see, like, we need to balance out the tears. We need to balance out the tears of this movie with some happy tears.
Oh, dear.
I'm learning a lot about myself from doing this podcast. I thought that I had a very broad taste in movies, and I feel like I really like the like slapsticky
Yeah.
90s movies. Like all I want to watch is like Christmas Vacation, which apparently like is the polar opposite of what my husband likes. So I guess we're just not as in sync as I thought.
I saw this meme, Katie, that made me think of your husband. Where it's like, when I was a kid, I thought everything like bad happening to what's it, Griswold was like super hilarious, but now it's like
I still think
he's
it's
just a
funny.
poor abused man.
He is a poor abused man, and maybe Dane just
Oh,
sees
God.
himself in that, and so he's feeling very sad about it.
I
But
feel so bad.
all I want to watch
I
is
feel
Christmas
bad.
Vacation, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Tommy
Mhm.
Boy. I'm just like jonesing for a preposterous, not real
Like,
life
silly.
situation
Yeah.
where I can escape for a little bit. But who knows?
Yeah, a good
That's fine.
slapstick, if done well.
If
And I
done
don't
well.
know what it is.
If done well.
Because I had said this the other week that I'm like, I don't really like slapstick movies. I'm like, but I do, because I'm like, I like Airplane and
I
I like
like
Down Periscope
80s
and
and
I like
90s slapstick
like Hot Shot
movies.
Part 2.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I
so
think
we need
it's
to watch
if
some
it's
Leslie Nielsen movies.
done well,
Hmm.
and I think it's if for me, and I find in a lot of like those kind of comedies, like a main character is usually like being dumped on,
Yeah.
like Griswold. Like
Yeah,
it's
which
just
is why
like
Dan doesn't like them.
everything they do, like everything goes wrong. And it just makes me feel so bad. Like am I too empathetic? 'Cause then I feel so uncomfortable and I feel so bad. And I'm like, there's nothing good about this movie. And I can't
No,
look past that,
that's
like the main character gets shat on all the time.
that's Dane's exact reaction. That's his feeling. And I'm just
I
having this moment.
oh,
The
but I do
slapstick
like Christmas
movies I
Vacation.
like
Are
are
not those
are a
ones.
spoof
Always.
version of Rudy. Like you could take Rudy and you could make it into a slapsticky movie where like everything goes horrifically wrong, and I probably would really enjoy it. Not Waterboy though. I did see that one and I didn't enjoy that one. But
The
I'd like
Replacements,
yeah. Yeah.
Keanu. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about we've been talking about it. Josh is feeling me deeply. Nobody has a broad taste in movies. We have the ones we prefer to put on and the ones our friends force us to go see in theaters because you have nobody else to see the movie with. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. Well, we did it. Josh has got
Oh, wait, we have to rate it.
his 2 footballs. No, I know we did. We got to the end where we're rating. Josh has given it 2 footballs. Paul's
Oh,
either
dear.
laughing or has given this movie one laughy face. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. What were you thinking, Nat? What were you thinking on this one?
I was so put out by his awful family, which apparently wasn't real life. I did love that, like the slow clap, and I did love
we didn't
the
talk about the slow
heartfelt.
clap. Is that actually is
Is
this
this
actually
the
the
origin
first
story?
movie? Is it because I tried to
Not a
find it
clue.
and I couldn't find any facts either way on it. Let's pretend it is. Let's pretend this is the origin of the slow clap. Does
Which
that
I
sway you?
loved.
Does
That
that give it
it
extra
was such a
potato?
well, I gave it, so I rated it 3 potatoes.
Okay,
And
three.
I think it's just because I really liked the heartfelt bits, and I really liked the football bits, and I liked the second half of the movie more than the first half of the movie.
Yeah, if it was
I don't
two
know. It was
movies,
serviceable. It was a serviceable movie.
if it was two movies, I
And Sean
give the
Astin was
first one
amazing.
2 and the second one 4. So I'm with you on. I
Yes.
think it meets in the middle at 3. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go. I'm gonna go with 3. Paul gives it 1 football because it manipulated him. It did. That's
Yeah.
the issue with when you see based on a true story, and it's like based on a true story, and
It's a
get
bit
ready to
contrived.
cry.
Yeah.
It's coming at you. I shouldn't even say that because this poor man like actually worked his ass off to get into Notre Dame, which is way better than anything
No,
I've
like,
done. But
respect.
respect.
He basically
Respect.
flunked out of high school because nobody took like 5 seconds to realize he had trouble. Like, he had dyslexia, which is
Because it
should
was
have
the
been pretty
70s.
obvious.
Yeah.
And he gets into an Ivy League school. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I also love that part where his real dad like pointed out his privilege, janitor.
Real
and was
dad's put you in
like-
your place.
Yeah, and he's like, "What are you complaining about?" He's like, "So you don't get to go on the field, but you have an education from Notre Dame." Like, hello.
I
Like,
know. I feel
that counts for a lot.
I feel like that was like the only that was like the moment, if this had been a spoof, like that was my
Yeah.
like slapstick moment where he was just like, are you being serious with me right now? You have a degree from a prestigious university. You need to shut
Yeah.
up about the football part. I was like, yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that was the one
Yeah.
thing I forgot to mention was when the kids, so it shows them in high school and it's like their last walk off, the field, like because they play high school football. And I was like, why do they look like they're going to a funeral? I'm like, oh no, is it because that's the peak of their life and everything's downhill from there? Yes.
yeah,
But like,
true
is
story.
that real? People do peak in high school, I guess. That's a thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's sad.
It is sad.
I feel bad for them.
Oh, you've taken it down again. We were over here laughing, and now it's all down. It's all down.
But Rudy got to play. Woo!
Rudy got to play. He actually got to play longer than what we saw in the movie, so everyone can feel really
Yeah.
excited. Well, we can now all go into Thanksgiving or Thursday, depending on where you live, feeling
Yeah, I'm not having any turkey.
feeling excited and motivated, and get really excited because a week from Thanksgiving/Thursday, we're going to be back with another episode, and we're going to be joined by Kathy and Kenny. We're going to be talking about Better Off Dead, which is definitely top 5 for
Like
me,
Katie's
if not top
one
3.
of Katie's favorite movies. Yeah.
So I think we mentioned this on the Christmas Story episode, but you know how the movie Christmas Story got, in many ways, its claim to fame by just playing on TV like on a loop for forever
Yeah.
during Christmas time. Better Off Dead played on I don't even know what TV station on a loop for months when Dane and I first started dating. So we have that movie
Really?
like fully memorized. Like that was my like moment
Wow.
with that movie. So I'm really excited to talk about this one. It's very
Oh,
weird.
you were obsessed with it even before then, though.
Yes,
That's so
but I
funny.
memorized it as a result of it. Like, it was like, oh, we have nothing to do. It's 3 a.m. and we're hanging out. Let's watch the tail end of Better Off Dead. And then, oh, it just started again. Let's watch it over. Oh, it just started
Wow,
again.
I don't think
Let's
The
watch
last
it
time I
again.
saw it was probably with you, so it's
Yeah.
gonna definitely be a rewatch for me.
Yeah. Oh gosh. No, I've seen it so many times since, and it's so very, very strange. So yeah, if you're into like very weird movies, from the, I think it's 80s. I don't even know the era.
Yeah.
I think it's 80s, and John Cusack. So all around glorious. Hope that you will join us. And I'm really excited because Kathy and Kenny are incredible, and they have an amazing
so
show
excited.
too. So it should be a lot of fun. Val's already excited. Huge happy birthday to Josh coming up. Wednesday is your birthday. Well, we will send you an email because we have your email, but we won't be able to wish you happy birthday officially. So we're going to wish you happy birthday officially now before your birthday.
Yes,
And then
happy
on
birthday.
Thursday on the other side of your birthday. Hope that you have an amazing, amazing time. You know what? You should have a whole Thanksgiving for your birthday because you're that awesome. So you should take advantage of the American Thanksgiving situation.
Turkey is on sale. I noticed.
There you go.
I also saw, and I'm like, why, like, when did we get like such an American supplier out of the grocery store near me? Because I saw, remember at Walmart in the States, they have those huge like tubs full of like cheesies, but they're the balls.
I was like, butter. Okay, cheesy, sure.
Like cheesy poofs,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they're
the
like
little, like,
balls
cheese
and they're in
balls,
that
yeah.
giant tub. I'm like, I've never seen that except for in the States, and I saw that yesterday at the grocery store. I was like, what
Whoa.
is that?
Did you buy it? I would have bought it.
No.
Oh my goodness, Josh, I'm so jealous. Josh's mom is making roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. Oh,
Ooh.
okay, fine. Be cooler than us. That's all I want to eat is British food. I'm in a whole phase. Well,
Nobody ever.
we've gotten way. I know I'm
Literally
the only one
famous
that
for
like
shit
really
food.
enjoys British food.
No, I love a beef Wellington. I love Yorkshire pudding. Okay.
I'm the person in the grocery store, like in the international aisle, where they have like the mushy green peas in a can. And I'm like,
Mushy peas.
yes.
Yeah.
I just
I
like
make
buy
mushy
them.
peas all the
Yeah,
time.
only for myself. And then I buy
Yeah.
all kinds of like custards and any kind of candy. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm,
yeah,
bad.
my
Mm,
dad's family's from Scotland. I eat
yeah.
a lot of that stuff. That's the norm.
Oh my
Little blood
gosh.
pudding for breakfast.
Yeah, there you
Mm.
go. Yeah. We're all in. We're totally ready for Thanksgiving.
Everybody's like, what is happening?
What is happening? It's because we've crossed over. We're
Yeah.
5 minutes over, so
Good night,
everything has
guys.
gone. It's gone to heck. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. If you for some reason are excited by this show, you can find us most Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube for the live recording, or you can listen wherever you like, whenever you like, either on YouTube or your favorite podcast player. You can swing over to the VHSclubpod.com. You can leave us a voicemail. Nat's now behind on writing blog posts, so everyone can shame
am.
her by voicemail.
Yep.
And you can
Told
follow
you.
us on any of the social networks to be able to see what we're up to. But thank you for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time. And happy Thanksgiving/Thursday to everyone.
Bye.
We'll see you on the other side. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Kitty and Nat, walking the scene.